Hi everybody. Today we're talking to Kavya Hegde, who is in Singapore, and she's an audiologist who studied and is working in Singapore. So let's start off with an introduction. Hi Kavya, can you tell
Hi,
me?
Vanessa.
Hi. So can you tell me where did you do your bachelor's and then what happened? Where did you go? Can you tell us all about it?
Sure. First of all, thank you so much for approaching me and allowing me to share my journey. So,
Of
thanks a
course.
lot for that.
Yes, thank
I
you.
did my bachelor's from Bharati Vidyapeeth in Pune, and then I decided to do my master's in audiology. I always had an inclination towards audiology, and yeah, that was my favorite topic amongst
Okay.
audiology and speech language pathology. So yeah, I started looking into programs abroad.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
always had this in my mind that I'll do my bachelor's in India, and if possible, I'll do my master's abroad to have
Mhm.
a different perspective and a different experience. So when I was in year three of my undergrad, I started shortlisting programs, and I started talking to some of my professors at Bharati Vidyapeeth and some of my seniors who went abroad to study. So I looked into US, UK, Australia, and Singapore.
Okay.
And every institute, every country has its own ups and downs,
Yes.
positives and negatives. But what I liked about Singapore's program was that it was very similar to the Indian one in terms of the structure.
Okay.
So we had coursework, we had mandatory clinical attachments because to graduate we needed 200 clinical hours,
Okay.
as well as research thesis was there.
Oh, okay,
So
okay.
if I look at Australia's program, we either had to choose between the research or
Clinical.
some of the modules. In UK, it was a 1 year program. So definitely, again, you had to pick your area of interest, and it was not a holistic experience, in my opinion, for me. So that's the reason I chose Singapore
Okay,
as my
okay.
master's study destination.
Oh, okay, okay, great. So after your master's, you're currently working in Singapore.
Yes,
Okay, fine. So let's first talk about the master's part of it, then we'll talk about the work part. So you
sure.
were telling me that the master's in Singapore is similar to India, right?
Yeah.
So can you tell me how it's similar to the one in India? Like, is it a 2 year course? How does that go?
Okay, it is a 2 years master's degree, and in India also now they have split the audiology program and speech language pathology program. So
Yeah.
similarly, I did my master's from National University of Singapore, and it's
Okay.
the only institute that offers this degree.
Oh, so
So
there's
they
only
do
one
have
institute.
masters in speech language pathology course and audiology course. So when I have to talk about the similarities, it is a 2 years program, and as I mentioned earlier, it includes coursework, clinical attachments, and the
Mm.
research
Okay.
thesis.
Okay.
Yeah. The difference is that the intake is every 2 years. So
Oh,
mine was a 2021 batch. I graduated in 2023. So
okay.
then the next batch comes in. So you
Oh,
don't
okay.
have this senior junior concept. You're the
Oh.
only batch at a time.
Oh, that's
Yeah. So
interesting.
the intake is once every 2 years.
Okay.
And I think when I talk to my friends in India who did masters there, you are the ones teaching your peers, and you will
Yes.
have supervisors and guides to help you out.
Correct, correct.
But in Singapore, because not everyone comes from an audiology background,
Mm.
majority of them come from life science background.
Okay.
So they start to teach you from basics. So they
Mm.
start with basics in semester one, and they
Mm.
go all the way deeper into the theory aspect as well as the
Okay.
clinical aspect.
Okay.
So you will always have teachers teaching you
Oh,
the
that's good.
subject,
Okay.
and there is little peer-to-peer coaching. And the
Mm.
peer-to-peer coaching mostly happens based on research articles. So like you're
Mm.
given few papers to read, and then you have to do a group discussion, or what did you like, critically evaluate the paper and then teach from that. That's how the peer education model works in
Oh,
this
okay, okay.
course. Yeah. So that's the difference, I
Okay,
guess.
okay. So you were
And
talking, huh?
one more is because in India, if you have done your bachelor's in audiology and speech language pathology, then only you get qualified to do a master's.
Masters.
So from day one, you're thrown into the clinic and you're on your own. But because in Singapore, people come from different backgrounds, you don't get clinical attachments from day one. So, towards the end of your semester one, you are allowed to shadow the clinicians in the
Oh,
hospitals, and slowly by the end of fourth semester, you get to be independent, but you're still kind of supervised.
okay, okay. So the clinical attachments is in the hospital in the university, or is it in different clinics around?
Uh, Both, because the university has a hospital attached. So, in the initial period, and most of your postings will be at the National University Hospital, the
Okay,
NUH, which is associated with NUS.
okay,
And you will have some summer postings, and in semester three and semester four, you
okay,
will be posted elsewhere. So in Singapore, you have public hospitals, restructured hospitals, and you have private hospitals. So your postings will mostly be in the restructured hospitals.
okay,
So I had the opportunity of doing the placements in two other hospitals, I would
okay,
say,
okay,
apart from
okay.
NUH.
Oh, okay, okay, all right. So,
Mhm.
and like you said, from the first, second semester, it's more of shadowing, and third and fourth, you're more independent.
Yes,
Okay, okay. And you were talking about the dissertation or the thesis part of it. So,
yeah,
can you tell me a little bit about that?
sure. So towards the end of your semester once, they roll out topics, and each supervisor will give a brief presentation of what this topic is. Then we have to give our top three preferences based on your area of interest. Then, depending on how many people have chosen that topics and other criterias which are not disclosed,
Mm-hmm.
you will be assigned one of the topics amongst the top three choices.
Okay,
And then you work closely with your supervisors.
okay,
The
okay,
thing is, in the dissertation here from our batch, we did not have to write long theses, 300, 400 words, and a black book that would just lie in the office later on. But our dissertation was more of a research paper format.
oh,
So
okay,
we wrote it in a way that we could publish. So some of my classmates did end up publishing
okay,
their
okay.
thesis work.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh,
So
all
we had to
right.
write few words.
Okay, that's nice. Okay, okay, okay. Another question is, what's the strength of each class?
It actually varies. So the largest cohort was actually 19 students, and
Mm-hmm.
mine was the smallest. We were just eight girls.
Oh, wow, only
Yeah.
eight?
Yes.
Okay, okay. So are the students in Singapore studying this master's in audiology from different, you said they're from different educational backgrounds, right? Most of them are from
Yes.
life sciences or so.
Yes.
Oh,
It
okay.
is.
And are they all from Singapore or are they from out of Singapore as well?
Majority of them are from Singapore. So actually, the audiology program in Singapore started only in 2013
Oh,
because they realized that Singapore is an aging population. They need audiological services,
mm,
but they never had a program. So in the initial period, like a decade ago, most of them would go to UK or Australia, do
mm,
their masters, come back to Singapore and work.
okay.
So this program actually they started because they wanted to train locals to become
Mm,
audiologists, but they do accept international students, but the count is less, I would say.
okay,
So
okay,
far, they had Indian nationals, someone from Hong Kong is what I have heard,
okay,
someone from Portugal, and now they have people from Malaysia also.
okay, okay, okay. All right. Um, So, another question which I would ask you is there placements which the university provides for students after, after you finish your master's?
Unfortunately, not
Mm.
because the government here gives scholarships
Okay.
to locals. So if you are given a scholarship, then you're bounded by the institutes. So
Uh,
some manufacturers did give scholarships to some of my classmates, so then they are bonded. So naturally, because we were less number of students, most of them had a job before they graduated because they were
okay.
bonded, they had scholarships.
Okay.
And for the international students, they do encourage or guide you. It's not that they don't guide you. So they will, based on your personality, and they will give you a reality check basically, and they will help you out. Oh, you can try this. These are the limitations if you want to try here. So, for
Mm.
example, I was told that majority of the people here speak Mandarin. And
Mm-hmm.
in government hospitals, because of subsidy, mostly people from a lower economic background will come there
Okay.
because they are the ones eligible for subsidy.
Okay.
So they are less educated, and elderlies will mostly speak Mandarin. So if you cannot speak Mandarin, then that's a barrier for you.
Barrier. Okay.
And their logic was like you can always try for private clinics
Mm-hmm.
because private, there's no subsidy. People who will go to private are quite affluent and they are well
Mm.
educated. So they can speak in English and we
English.
should not have difficulties. So these
Okay.
kind of practical tips or like ground realities and the supervisors will help you out. You
Okay.
just have
Okay.
to go and approach and talk.
Okay. Okay. Would you say the teaching in the university is pretty good?
I would say so, yes. I
Okay.
enjoyed my time, and there are few concepts which got cleared. So you dive deep into the theory, and the
Mm.
practical sessions are more, I would say the classes are more practically oriented too, even if they dive deep into theory. So they make you think. There's
Okay.
no
Okay.
wrong and right answer. So as long as you can justify why you're
Mm-hmm.
doing something, it's accepted.
Okay.
So it
Okay.
just develops the critical thinking in you. So even
Okay.
our exams, we didn't have to write long essays or theoretical questions.
Mm-hmm.
So all our exams were case study based.
Okay.
So they would
Okay.
give case studies and then you had to answer and justify. So because the teaching is such, the exam pattern is also a bit different.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's nice. All right. Next question is about the requirements that a person needs to apply to a university in Singapore. Is there any
Mm.
qualifications or particular requirements which you had to prepare for, or somebody has to prepare for while applying for Masters of Audiology there?
Okay. So for me, I remember I gave IELTS
Mm-hmm.
and then I had to fill the university application form and
Mm-hmm.
deposit some $50, which was non-refundable.
Mm.
Then they screen the application form. There you provide your education background, like what you have done in your undergrad, give
Okay.
two letter of recommendations, and the letter of recommendations you will not know what your supervisor or the
Mm.
person who are asking for has written for you. So, and some universities where I applied for different countries, you get a letter of recommendation from whoever you are asking, the person, and you know what they have written, and that is what you submit. But for NUS, they have a special template where they
Okay.
ask about communication skills, personality, and other few things. And the person whom we are approaching, let's say I approached my undergrad teacher, then my undergrad teacher has to fill it and directly email the letter of
Oh,
recommendation to the
okay.
university. So I don't know what they are writing. There's
Okay.
no way I can know. So when I am doing the application, there were two letter of recommendations in this so-called hidden manner.
Uh,
Then I had to write my statement of purpose. Maximum limit was 1,000 words.
okay.
Then I had to show my clinical hours proof,
Okay.
my mark sheets,
Okay.
10th standard, 12th grade, undergraduate, and yeah, I think that's it for the application part.
Okay.
Then they
Okay.
will screen the application, and the second stage is a written exam.
Oh, you
I
had
was
an
quite
exam.
fortunate. Yes. So
Okay.
there are actually three rounds
Oh, wow.
before you can
Okay.
get into it. One is the application one, second is the entrance exam, the
Okay.
third is the interview. So I
Oh,
was quite fortunate that when I applied, it was COVID times,
oh
everything
yeah.
was online.
Okay.
So even I could attend the orientation that happened in October the
Online.
previous year online. And that's
Mm.
how I knew that I wanted to be in this program because I could ask them questions in the Zoom
Mm.
meeting. I could
Okay.
know who my professors would be. So I think that was the boon I received during COVID times that
Okay.
the exams and the facilities made available were not just face to face, but they did include
Online mode
online
also. Okay.
exams. So for international students during that year, we had a Zoom exam. They gave
Mhm.
a Microsoft, the Google Sheet, no, not the Google
Okay.
Sheet, the Microsoft
Microsoft Form. Ha ha ha.
form. So there were few sections. One was basic audiology related and speech related, so normative development, again case study based. Then there were few mathematical and logical reasoning questions. So even if you are not from an audiology background, but if you read the question correctly and use some logic, you can answer those.
Okay.
And in the end, I had to write an essay, and the topic for me during my time was teleaudiology, boon and bane, from a
Okay.
clinician
Okay.
perspective and from a patient perspective.
Oh, okay.
I guess
Okay.
COVID times, teleaudiology was a very hot
Yeah.
topic back then.
Okay.
So after the entrance exam, 2 weeks later, I had an interview round
Okay.
where they asked me what does patient centric care mean to you. Then again, they gave me some situations. What would you react? How would you act in this? And amongst XYZ topics, what do you think you would like to do with your classmates? What is something you don't want to do? So the questions and the options were such that they would know your personality. Like, are you a team
Mm.
player, or are you someone who would like to lead the discussions, kind of a leader? So the
Okay.
interview was more to understand, like, are you willing to leave your country, your comfort zone, and why
Okay.
you want to be
Okay.
there? So the motivation they want to know, and they check your overall personality in the interview round, because
Okay.
the knowledge they have already tested through the entrance
Mm.
exam.
Okay. Got it. Huh?
So after these three stages, they just send you the acceptance that, hey, you're shortlisted. If you want to accept it, then you have XYZ duration, and then the
Mm.
formalities for the visa begin.
Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. So that entrance exam and all that is something new. I haven't seen that in a lot of other places.
Yeah.
Hmm. Okay. Okay. So, what about the fees? Because is there any particular scholarship available for international students?
Unfortunately, no,
Mm.
because this program, even if my degree is from National University of Singapore and US, this is a privately funded program. So there
Okay.
are no scholarships for international students. The Ministry of Health will give scholarships to locals only.
Okay. Okay.
So
Huh.
for me, I took education loan from India.
Okay. Okay. All right. Um, all right. So I think this is, my next question is regarding the work. So, like, as you finish your graduation, is there
Yeah.
any licensing exam or something you need to clear to be eligible to practice in Singapore?
No,
Mm.
that's the thing. We don't have any licensing exams, or we don't get issued a license number to practice.
Okay.
It's a very small profession, and there are very few people, less than 200 professionals working. So anything and everything, the word spreads amongst all of us very
Yeah,
quickly. Oh,
correct,
yes, yes,
correct.
that's true. That's true. That's true. Yeah.
Oh, but
So
would you
there's no,
say there's no
sorry.
licensing? Sorry, sorry, continue.
Yeah, there's no licensing exam. As long as you are employed, you are working in Singapore, and you have valid credentials, either a bachelor's degree or a master's degree, you can be a member of the Audiology Society here. So
Okay,
we do have a society called Society of Audiology Professionals Singapore, SAPS,
okay.
but there's no licensing
Licensing
at
as
this
such.
point.
Okay, okay. So, would you say that people who are working in Singapore, you said around 200 maybe,
Yeah.
most of them are from Singapore, or are there audiologists working there from out of Singapore as well?
Uh, Mostly locals
Mm-hmm.
and mostly NUS graduates now.
Mm,
But initially, because they never had a program and
correct.
everyone was qualified from abroad, we do have people from India,
Okay.
Malaysia, Philippines.
Hmm.
Yeah. So if I have to pick three main foreign countries from which audiologists are practicing currently, then it would be Philippines, India, Malaysia.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
All right. So let's continue talking about the work over there. So you said that there's no licensing exam or such, you just need your basic credentials. Is there anything like you need some basic credentials to practice there? Like is even a bachelor's in audiology from India valid to practice in Singapore?
Yes, can. They do say that either a bachelor's degree or a master's degree, depending on what position is open, if it's a
Okay.
junior level position, a senior level position,
Mm.
how big the institute is. uh, it depends on multiple factors.
Okay,
As
okay.
long as you can prove that you're well qualified, you know your stuff, it's
It
and
is
if you're the
possible.
top candidate, it is possible.
Okay,
They
okay.
don't restrict that only master's level. They do say bachelor's or master's,
Okay,
because
okay.
most of them are working on just bachelor's degree here.
Okay, okay. Okay. All right. So tell me about your job.
uh, when I graduated, I was working in a private clinic as a clinical audiologist.
Mm-hmm.
But few months later, I got a better opportunity, so I switched jobs.
Mm-hmm.
And currently, I'm working as a product specialist for WS Audiology Southeast Asia affiliate.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. So what does
So,
a product audiologist do?
yeah, I'm more towards the corporate side now.
Okay,
So
okay,
my role includes knowing everything about our products.
okay.
So I do train the trainers and the
Mm-hmm.
internal team
Mm-hmm.
so that they can go and train the customers, basically
Ah,
the audiologists, about our products and support them. So if anyone has any questions related to our products, they do approach me and I'm responsible to answer them or
okay,
look
okay.
for answers.
Oh,
So
okay.
as you know that hearing aids every few years they have launch cycles, a new product is released. So I'm involved in the launch process
Okay,
cycle.
okay. Oh,
Yeah.
all right. Okay. So tell me, like you were telling me that audiologists work in clinics or hospitals. What are the different settings mostly audiologists work in Singapore?
Uh, Hospitals definitely,
Mm-hmm.
private and government.
Mm-hmm.
Then there are private clinics which are in association with ENT doctors. They
Okay.
have collaborations, or some of them are affiliated with manufacturer. They are manufacturer owned retail outlets.
Okay.
They do have manufacturer audiologist post, because
Okay.
I'm working for a manufacturer now.
Yeah,
So
okay.
yeah, so you can work with manufacturer, you can work in an ENT clinic, a private audiology outlet,
Mm-hmm.
chain of outlets,
Okay.
hospitals is another one.
Okay, okay.
And nowadays, the nature of audiology in Singapore is focusing more towards the community. So the community-based audiology
Ah,
is more
okay,
in
okay.
in the running. So I would
Okay.
say they have mobile vans which go into the housing estates. They do run clinics there.
Okay,
So
okay.
yeah,
Nice. Mm.
you can say a traveling audiologist if you
Yeah,
want to.
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, because they do travel from one part of Singapore to another part of
Okay,
Singapore to see
okay.
patients.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
Officially, they are not called traveling
Traveling
audiologists, but I
audiologist,
think we
got
can call them
it.
traveling audiologists.
Okay, okay. So a lot of different settings as well.
Yeah.
Okay. How do people find out about jobs? Is it mainly through LinkedIn or just word of mouth?
Uh, LinkedIn definitely. And I would say there are platforms like Indeed,
Mm-hmm.
JobStreet,
Mm-hmm.
SG, and JobsDB.
Okay.
Yeah.
So even audiologists in India could find jobs through that and work in
Yeah.
Singapore probably?
Yeah.
Okay,
They
okay.
can apply. They can
Mm.
apply, and then it's
See,
really up to how it goes. Yeah.
correct. Yeah, okay.
But these
Um,
are the few sites: JobsDB, Indeed, LinkedIn, where you can, or you, if you see a job advert on LinkedIn, let's say, you can directly go to that company's website and apply.
correct,
Yeah.
correct. Okay, okay. Okay. So my other question is about the work culture. How is the work culture in Singapore?
Quite disciplined, I would say. And again, it's an Asian society, so people here are workaholics. They
Yeah.
do work quite hard.
Okay.
I would say my colleagues, I can only talk about my institute right now
Yeah,
because
correct.
it's quite personal. I do work with a great team of people. We do have events, we do have fun. But when it comes to work, every one of us works together. People are
Mm,
helpful. So
mm.
knowledge sharing is there. And I would say discipline and flexibility of work.
Okay, okay.
So it's like if I come early and if I complete my work early, then I can leave early.
Mm.
So it's not that you come at a fixed time, you leave, punch out at a fixed
Correct,
time. The
correct. Yeah.
main thing here is the work needs to be done.
Correct,
So you,
correct.
the faster you do, the faster you can get released.
Mm.
So I would say it's quite chill and relaxed, but at the
Okay.
same time, it's a workaholic environment.
Environment. Okay,
We
okay.
all are Asians at the end of the
Yeah,
day.
we do work a lot.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
So
overall, I'm happy. Yeah.
okay, okay, that's good, that's good. So Singapore is an expensive country, and I think it's rated pretty high in the list also when you talk about the world's most expensive countries. So you were talking to me about the fees of the college or the university. Would that
Yeah.
generally be higher than what it is in other countries?
Um, it's very difficult to comment, but I thought when I was comparing between Australia and Singapore, the overall cost of living versus the course fee was quite comparable.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So would people who want to know the fees of the university, would they be able to find that on the website of the National
Yes.
University of Singapore? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
It's
And
quite transparent that way.
okay, that's good. And so even let's talk about the salary as well. Do you have an idea about the median salary range for audiologists? It is a difficult to put a number on it, but if there's any number
Yes.
you could say which is the median salary range which audiologists in Singapore would earn.
It actually depends on a lot of factors
Mm-hmm.
because here, if you're a foreigner, you don't have to contribute to the CPF and your employer doesn't contribute on your behalf to your
Okay.
account.
Okay.
So for locals, the value will be different.
Oh,
For
okay.
foreigners, it will be different
Okay.
because we don't have CPF contributions.
Mm.
And it depends on the year of experience, where you're located, your company, and
Okay, okay,
everything. But I think the safest would be to check the Glassdoor for the
okay.
latest ones.
Correct,
Yeah,
correct. Okay, okay.
they have
Makes sense.
reported salaries there.
Okay, good.
It
Huh.
it really depends and varies because I've seen advertisements for research audiologists, the number is quite high. But again, it
Mm-hmm.
comes with few years of experience. For a
Mm.
fresher, it varies from if you're working for a government hospital, if you're working for a private sector. So the
Mm.
range is quite huge, I would say.
Okay, okay, fine,
Yeah.
fine. So let's just talk about the visa aspect of it. So, what's the visa? If you're working, do you get a work permit or something in Singapore?
Yes. So in Singapore, there are three levels of visas. The one is the work permit, but
Mhm.
it's applicable mostly to blue collar people who do blue collar jobs.
Okay.
Then there is something called as S-Pass for
Mhm.
people who are skilled, and for
Okay.
managerial levels or other highly qualified people, there is employment pass, which is called
Okay.
E-Pass.
Okay.
But again, there are few criterias which decides which pass you will get. One is your education qualification, if you have done bachelor's or master's. Secondly, what is your pay grade? Third, demand for your profession
Mm.
and your year of experience.
Okay. Okay.
So there is this checklist, there is this framework where the employer has to fill in the data and all, and they will tell you. The Ministry of Manpower in Singapore issues work passes or permits. So based on these few factors, they will decide if you qualify for an S pass or if you qualify for an E pass, which is the employment
Okay.
pass. So currently I am on employment pass,
Okay.
and the criteria also differs from where you have done your education. If you have done it from NUS, then the salary bracket could be a little different for s- someone who has done from outside abroad university.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there are few factors to consider here.
Okay. Okay.
But the thing is like you get an in principle approval when your employer submits the documents on your behalf. You do have to show them that your education qualifications are legit. They need to be certified and verified. And after you have received your in principle approval, then You come to Singapore if you are a foreigner. If you're already in Singapore, then you just have to make an appointment with Ministry of Manpower
Mm-hmm.
to visit them in person to get your photograph clicked, to get your fingerprints registered, and then you will be issued a card. So that
Mm.
is your visa and your identity card.
Okay.
So for the first 2 years, for the first time when you apply S Pass or E Pass, you will get it for 2 years.
Okay.
And after 2 years, when you renew it, you will get it for 3 years.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. And one thing I would like to highlight here is that if you change employer, your permit will get cancelled. Because in
Okay.
my case, I this is my second job, right? So
Correct.
when I
Correct.
quit my first job, my employer had to cancel my existing pass. And then a new pass was issued by my new employer.
Okay. Okay.
So
Huh.
every time you change employer, your pass will be the previous
Okay.
pass will be cancelled and the new one will be issued.
Okay.
So now
Okay.
my 2 years validity increased
Oh, okay. Okay. Oh,
because
nice.
the first one was cancelled now.
Got it. Huh.
Yeah. So once my this 2 years will be up, and if I renew it, I'll get it for 3 years.
Next 3 years. Okay. What about the permanent residency or is there anything like that in Singapore?
Yes, you can apply for permanent residency first and later citizenship.
Okay.
The criteria is that you have to have worked in Singapore for at least 6 months, and you
Mm-hmm.
should show that you are involved in the community, you're
Ah,
doing
okay.
volunteering activities, you have good intents, you are integrating well in the society. But even if you do all these things, it is purely luck based.
Luck. Mm.
Yeah. They don't tell you if you get rejected, why you are getting rejected. They do look at your salary, your education qualification, again, the demand for your profession, along with how involved you are in the local activities and your intent. And the thing
Okay.
is, for permanent residency, it depends on your race, your nationality. So there's a lot of structure and layer to
Lot
it.
of, yeah, okay.
Yes. So they do want to maintain a certain ratio.
Mm-hmm.
Even
Okay,
in
okay.
companies, it's true.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But it's
Hmm.
not impossible. You just
Yeah,
have to
okay.
try.
Correct, yes. Okay, so what do you think is the difference between working in India versus working in Singapore?
Okay. Good question. The thing is, I never worked in India
Correct.
because I completed my bachelor's and I only had 7 days in between before my master's started.
Oh my
But
goodness.
if I have to share my internship experience in India and in Singapore, I think it's about the same. The difference mostly is the technology, the funding available, and that makes difference for what resources you can have and cannot have. So in
Mm,
India, we used to plot audiograms and everything on a piece of paper, write reports. Everything was manual, I
and
would say. In Singapore, everything is digital, and they are very careful about the Data Protection Act.
mm,
So we do have a medical system here where you get access and you have to enter the data, and the data cannot leak outside.
okay,
So the
okay.
patient, if they want a copy of their audiogram or report, they have to raise a formal request and
Oh,
there's a procedure for it.
okay,
So difference in the protocols, I would say, the
okay.
level of strictness when it comes to handling data, and everything is more electronic and digital, plotting of audiograms, writing the reports
Mm,
in that aspect.
okay.
The wait time is actually different. The
Mm,
appointment scheduling, that is something different. In India, I used to remember that you used to have posting and then it was up to you. You decide which patient you want to see,
correct.
or you have to decide amongst yourselves. So
Mm,
someone would end up getting more number of cases, someone would struggle because there were too many people in one
mm,
session. So I think because it's more disciplined here, you are assigned and you're allotted cases. So they make a structure and timetable for you.
okay, okay.
And they try that everyone gets equal opportunity.
Okay,
Then
okay.
it's your luck. If your patient doesn't show up, then you cannot do anything. But at
Yeah.
least they make sure that when distributing, you are given equal
Okay,
opportunity.
okay.
Yeah.
All right. I just had a question. So,
Mhm.
is healthcare free in Singapore for the citizens, locals?
Uh, I won't say it's completely free, but they do have benefits.
Okay, okay.
Yeah,
S-
they do
s-
have mediclaims and few vouchers, subsidies. So
All
that
right. So,
helps.
would hearing aids help? Would the hearing aids come under the Mediclaims or anything which they could claim for?
Yeah, they have subsidies for elderlies especially,
Mm-hmm.
and the blockout period is 4 years. So
Mm-hmm.
based on your household income and other factors, they decide if you are eligible for 90% subsidy or 75% or 0%. So it's not completely free.
Okay, okay.
You can get it at a subsidized rate.
Subsidized rate. All right, all right.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's just again, we'll wrap just a few more questions before we wrap up. What's
Yeah.
something you love about working in Singapore?
Ah, difficult question. I think the people that I work with, it's quite disciplined and I'm learning every day and growing. So yeah,
Okay. Okay, that's nice. What do you like about the city of the, or the place of Singapore? Not just about work.
it's fast paced. And for
Okay.
someone like me who is quite hyper in a way, I prefer a fast paced life.
Okay. Huh.
And because it's a small city, it's urbanized and everything is a concrete jungle.
Mm,
You do have opportunities, activities to participate even after work.
work hours.
So
Okay.
even at my workplace, we have something called as passion squad. So after work, sometimes I join my colleagues from other departments
Huh, huh.
and we do some activities like bouldering. So that sometimes there's lunchtime Zumba,
Ah,
or the
okay, nice.
government has initiatives to ensure and encourage people to stay healthy.
Huh.
So you can always go to some classes, some activities, and be active.
Oh, that's nice. That's
So the
nice.
fast-paced life is something I enjoy.
Okay, okay. Is there anything else you want to give advice to students? Anything you want to talk about the pros and cons of being in Singapore? Anything?
It's definitely expensive. You have to manage your finances well,
Mm-hmm.
but it's a good country to be in, quite disciplined, and life is easy, I would say.
Mm.
Yeah, you feel very safe here walking at night. So you literally let down your guard here. It
Okay.
just naturally happens.
Okay.
You can learn a lot from people here and from courses, but in general, if I have to talk, I won't just say pros or cons. Pros will definitely be like it's closer to your home, so you
Yeah, you
enjoy
can
the
come back.
freedom of being independent in Singapore. You can grow as a person because if back home you have all the means and all the support system you have, but when you move to a different country, any country, it's a bit challenging because you have to build your life from scratch. There is no one to exactly support you or help you. There will be ups, there will be downs. You will go through all kinds of emotion, but at the end of the day, it would be worth it.
Yeah.
And anytime if you feel homesick or something, it's just 4 or 5 hours direct flight
Yeah, correct,
journey.
correct.
You can anyways come back, meet your families, eat good food, do
Yes.
shopping, and then go back. Yeah.
Correct. That's
So
nice.
just that if anyone is planning to pursue masters abroad or apply abroad, I would just say that approach people, identify the people, join LinkedIn, approach people, message them, talk to them, ask them to share their honest views, the good sides, the bad sides, and everything. Talk to as many people as possible so that will help you gain perspective. Don't just base your decision of someone else's experience because your journey is quite unique to you. Everyone has different reasons and different motivations to move to some country. Find why you want to go there. Just seek advice from everyone and then carve your own path. anytime you just have to ask, because people are quite helpful. When people knew here, the Indians who have settled, that hey, I am all alone in Singapore, my family is back in India, they invited me to their house for Diwali,
So sweet.
for
Oh,
dinners and everything. So you don't miss home in a way. You just have to
mm,
go talk to people and you will build your own network. And at the end of the day, you will be proud because this is the life you built from
correct,
scratch.
correct.
Yeah.
That's
Just
beautiful.
don't shy away from asking for help or reaching out to people. I think networking is quite important.
Yes, absolutely. I also think that because we are a small professional group, we are these many Indian audiologists or speech therapists all around. We're always open to help others. Because till now, whoever I have asked for, for a video like this where they want to share their experience, everybody has said yes. Everybody wants to help the others. So I'm sure
Yeah.
if the next time somebody wants to approach you and they approach you on LinkedIn or email, you'll
Yeah.
always be open to discussing with
Yeah.
them. Yeah,
Sure.
that's nice. That's lovely.
Definitely.
All right
Because
then.
it's always like that. You want to do, and if you don't know the right resources to ask or something, it gets frustrating.
Correct.
For me, I had no one to know or ask their experience in particular about
Mm-hmm.
Singapore. But yeah, I did ask people who were doing masters or who were
Mm-hmm.
working in different countries. So their experiences did help me.
Help you, yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's more for parents also, that if your child talks to someone and
They'll
gains a
also.
better perspective, even they feel better rather than you just going on internet doing your own
Correct, correct.
research. Yeah,
Yeah,
just write emails to the institute you're interested in. Some of them will revert back to you, some of them won't revert back. Don't get disheartened, but try. Always
yeah.
try.
That's good. That's really lovely. And I'm glad that anybody else who wants to go to Singapore or at least have you to ask questions because you didn't
Yeah,
have anybody, but you can be you can be there for helping somebody else.
yeah, sure.
All right. So thank you so much. It was a lovely discussion. I think we have covered most of the important topics. So it's lovely. Thank you so much for sharing all of your experience about studying and working in Singapore as an audiologist.
You're most welcome.
Thank you.